everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I'm your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my buddy Jason. How's it going, dude?
Not bad. It's a nice out today, wrapping up the summer weather pretty much.
Yeah, because like you mentioned to me earlier off air, we're going to have the rain usher in fall tomorrow.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, why do I always start by talking about the weather too? It's so weird.
Dude,
it's always me.
I do the
It's
same
always me.
thing. I do the
So
same
weird.
thing because I've had numerous people, if I could talk, tell me, they're like, "Oh, that's your thing."
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, you just come on and you're like, "Hey, how you doing today?" I'm like, it's nice outside today." Don't even say if I'm good, really. It's just, it's nice out.
I hear you, man. All right, before we get rolling, don't forget to check out our social media stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams, all at ASC Pods. You can find our entire catalog if my voice wants to work on B Plus Player Radio. You can find them on Twitter at B Plus Radio. And don't forget to check out our sponsors over at Too Sweet Magazine. Find them on Twitter at Too Sweet Mag. All right, we're starting to get into the heart of the football season, Week 5.
Week 5. What did we have on Thursday night?
Yeah,
Started
we
out,
had. We'll just get right into it. The Patriots beating up on the Colts 38-24.
Yeah, I think that was a predictable game. Although the Colts did kind of run a little bit there, right?
They made it a one-score game at one point.
Yeah, I think pretty early in the fourth they started covering. They started gaining some ground. I mean, on the Pats, and
They just had some dumb turnovers, like interception, a fumble, kind of put them out of this game.
yeah, that tends to be the way. Like if you make a mistake against the Patriots, you usually pay for it, and that's what happened. There was two pretty quick touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And actually, Josh Gordon, with a really nice play, I guess, introducing himself to the Patriots fans and everything with that play.
Yeah, where like a Randy Moss type play, where you just throw it up and let him go get it.
Yeah, he's really good at that. And if the guy can keep his head on straight, I think they have a steal in getting him from Cleveland.
Yeah, I agree with that. And in this game, Brady becomes the third player ever in NFL history with 500 touchdown passes for his career.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment. The longevity that he has and the consistency that he has it's almost unparalleled, I guess, in a way. Because a lot of quarterbacks have done it, but the way he's done it with all the championships, all the Super Bowl titles, kind of puts him in a league of his own, I guess you would say. Because who were the other two with the 500? Was it Manning and was it Marino?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, see, Manning has two. Manning has two, the Colts and the Broncos, and Marino never won one.
Nope.
So Brady is, head and shoulders above them as far as titles go. So I guess, in that company, you have to kind of say that, like I said, with consistency and the longevity and everything, and just his constant, success in his career, Brady's kind of in a league of his own. And, it's I don't care for the guy so much on the field, but hey, the numbers are there.
Absolutely. The other thing I took away from this game is, as the season has gone on, you could see Andrew Luck's fastball, as they say, starting to return.
Yeah, I agree with that. His arm does look better. The velocity on his throws and everything is looking better. That's a great sign for the Colts because, there was a time in there where they had to think that maybe their franchise quarterback was done, and it would have been a total, they would have had to hit the reset button on that team. But now I think, he's still, 27 or something like that?
Yeah.
So he still has a lot of football left in him. He's not beat up that much because of the rest that he had.
Yeah, because he had technically 2 years off.
Yeah, which is good for the body. And once he gets that rust off of him, the Colts don't look bad. Like, they're not a bad-looking team. They fought back in this game.
I think they're I would say a year or two away. Where
yeah, I could.
Not to cut you off. If they get the right offensive pieces around him, they could be very dangerous.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. I agree. I think you nailed that one. That they're moving. They're moving in the right direction, especially getting him back on the field
And like you
and
said, real
performing.
quick, the other thing that I really like out of them is they don't give up no matter the situation.
Yeah, they're a fighting team. That's it's the pride is there. Like they've taken teams that when they've lost. I think all their losses have actually kind of been close games in the fourth quarter at one point, right? Because the Bengals game they lost was the fumble return basically ended
Yeah,
that game for them. And in the Eagles game, they
to the
went
last
right there.
drive.
Yeah, so they're not losing games and an embarrassing type of way. They're sticking around till late. And I mean the Patriots. I've been saying it for how long now. The Patriots are going to win a lot of games now. Like they're going to have like an 80% win percentage the rest of this year. It's going to happen. They're too
Right.
good.
Oh, to answer your question, Lance said Luck is 29.
29. Oh, he's a little older than I thought then. So they better hurry up. Like that window you gave them better be right.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. All right, next, this one was a surprise to me. The Jets basically beating up on Denver 34-16.
Yeah. I've noticed something about Denver, and I think you might have noticed it too. Denver's defense tends to be like really good, or they give up a lot of big plays. And I'll rewind back to against like the Eagles last year. The Eagles beat up on them, with big plays. And if you watch that game on Sunday against the Jets, Crowell rushed for 219 yards. When is the last time you can remember someone doing that to that Denver defense?
I can't. And then Robbie Anderson had those 2 long touchdowns.
Yeah, see, here's what I'm wondering about Denver is, did that loss to Kansas City break that team? Or are they going to pack it in now? Because that was a rough loss. I think we talked about it. Case Keenum missed that throw, or they would have won that football game.
Yeah.
But because he missed the throw, I think it was to Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
Because he missed the throw, they had their hearts broken against Kansas City. That was a tough loss because they could have won that game. They probably should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out Sunday. And another thing I will say is the Western team traveling and playing the early game is very rough, too.
Yeah.
And it seems like Denver has had trouble with that. I'm not 100% sure, but if I remember correctly, Denver's had trouble with that in the past. And they definitely had it on Sunday because they did not look good.
No, and the Jets just basically put the clamps on them. Darnold had a good game. And like I said, you finally saw Robbie Anderson have a coming-out party. 150-plus yards and 2 touchdowns.
No, he only had 123 yards.
Ooh, my
receiving.
bad.
Yeah, he had, but he had that big 76-yard touchdown catch.
No, they look good.
Yeah, the Jets definitely did beat up on them, and that game was bad. It just wasn't a good game.
All right, next we have Carolina pulling this game out of their you-know-what to beat the Giants 33-31.
Man, I'll tell you what, the Giants are the king of the bad losses. They've perfected it in the last couple of years. A 63-yard field goal from Graham Gano. Like, I mean, come on.
Remember, Jake Elliott did it last year, and Gano says, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, 61. I'll not only beat you by 1 yard, I'll go 2 on you and tie the all-time NFL record, which is held by, 5 different guys by now? 3, actually. I think he became the 3rd or whatever to do it. But, yeah, the Giants look good at times on Sunday. It's just, like, that team, man, I don't know what it is, but they seem to have, like, this bad luck around them. Like, they had Odell Beckham threw a 57-yard touchdown pass. Like, he threw a touchdown pass.
He caught
a touchdown pass. He looked good, and then
he had
the game.
The really awful play on special teams where he touched the ball that led to a Giants player fumbling it and Carolina getting a special teams touchdown.
Yeah, there was that as well. Eli'd a couple times, and like, I guess if you want to look at it this way, you could say that that game should have never come down to a field goal. That they should have won that game before Gano even had a chance to be on that field to win it. With the mistakes, if they would have erased those mistakes, they would have won the game. They didn't look bad though. They just have those mistakes, man. Like they'll play like 50 minutes of good football, and then there's 10 minutes and sprinkled into that game where they just can't seem to do anything right, and those 10 minutes in the NFL
it kills them.
Will ultimately cost you a football game.
No, absolutely. Brendan in our chat says the Giants are on their way to another negative record. I'm certain of it. It sucks to be a fan right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Giants, like they have like, listen, Odell Beckham is a very toxic guy in my opinion. He's a very good player, a great player, but he just seems to have this I don't know, like this down type of attitude and everything that follows him around. And signing him to that deal, you know, on the field with his performance can be very smart. Probably will be very smart. But he's just not – he's not a locker room guy. He's not really a sideline guy. He's just a field guy. He has that big star wide receiver personality that you have to deal with at times. And if the Giants don't find a way to get it under control, they're never going to get the output as a full offensive team and everything that they can, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, Lance says he thinks if the Giants go and get a good rookie quarterback in the draft this year, they could be right back in the hunt.
Yeah, they're building a decent team. See, here's my thing, and Lance is 100% right. But what I thought they should have done is they should have gotten a quarterback in this past draft because it was such a deep quarterback draft. I mean, you had Darnold. They couldn't have got Mayfield because he was going early. You had Darnold. Who's the kid? Rosen, Josh Allen. Who I'm not going to judge any of them by their play yet because it's way too early. But I think this would have been the draft of where they could have gotten that quarterback to build around. Barkley's an amazing player, but I've always been a quarterback first kind of guy. You always want to get the quarterback first.
I think Rosen would have been perfect for them. He seems like the kind of New York personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought that because I've talked to a couple of friends that are Giants fans, and they don't like the Barkley pick, and it's nothing against Barkley, but they said by the time they find the quarterback to potentially go contend, who's to say Barkley's not, got too many, had too many carries and starts to wear down.
Yeah, that, and you always have to worry about his rookie deal expiring too, him not wanting to be there. Yeah, but that's 5 years though, so you figure that because you have 4 years and an option on your rookie contract.
Right.
But they make a good point, and I can't believe that you have Giants fans that are friends. I mean, I'm kidding. I do too. So
let's move on. We have the Bengals scoring 27 unanswered to beat the Dolphins 27-17.
Yeah, hey, you know what was funny about this? I messaged you early in this game when it was 17-0 and said, and remember I made the remark about me picking the Bengals? Like, I don't remember what I said. I think I was
you're like, this is the type of game that, like, the Bengals make me wonder why I picked them or something.
Yeah, this is why I try not to pick the Bengals or something. And then, cut about an hour later, real time, I'm just laughing about that message. Like, I read it again and was like, can I just remove that? Because now I look like an idiot. But I'll tell you what, man. I kind of like this Bengals team. I kind of think that they're a decent team. We'll see, because they tend to bungle or whatever,
You'll find out starting this week.
Yes, we will, because I think it's this week they play the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is rivalry week. That's right. Kind of. Partially.
Right. I think the big thing with the Bengals is they got a big lift with Mixon coming back.
Yeah, he's a pretty good running back, man. I like him. He gives them, you know, like him and Bernard. I don't even think Bernard did anything this week. I'm not sure,
He's
but
injured.
yeah, that's what happened. Because I was wondering, I didn't hear his name during the game and stuff. I try to watch Red Zone as much as I can, but it's hard to follow everything, you know. I like where the Bengals are at right now. I think that they have a pretty good attack. I think. You know, like you said, you're gonna really start to get an idea of where exactly they are, but they're looking decent. Like they're looking like the kind of team that is going to fight for that division, because they're 4-1 now, so
yeah.
They have about a game and a half or 2-game lead on that division now, right?
Yeah, because they beat the Ravens, and then they play Pittsburgh this week.
Yeah, so if they beat Pittsburgh, yeah, because so they're a game up on Baltimore with a win over Baltimore.
Correct.
And then they're a game and a half on the rest of the division because of the tie. So yeah, you're right, man. They the only issue that I think is going to really come back to hurt them is I think their defense is going to fail them when they play good teams, big offensive teams.
Yeah.
Because they've allowed 130 points this year. They're giving up 30 points per game. So we'll see.
This weekend will be very fun because Vontaze Burfict came back last week from suspension.
And he's playing the Steelers.
Yeah.
Which always tends to be a little bit of a
chippy game.
And, you know, with the new rules on personal fouls and stuff, Burfict might not see 60
That's so
minutes this
true.
week.
Lance said Cincinnati will squeak into playoffs, lose in the first round, and Marvin Lewis will get a contract extension.
You know, it's so predictable. Well, you know, what I'm saying is he's probably right. It's incredible.
I know. You're right.
It's incredible. It's
All
incredible.
Right. Next, we have the Browns coming from behind and beating the Ravens 12-9 in overtime.
Man, the Browns are the king of the ugly win. And what's crazy is the Browns could be 5-0 this year. They literally should be 5-0, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Their losses haven't been...
All have been close games.
Yeah, all have been basically the last plays, right? Because the Raiders they lost to in overtime. They tied the Steelers, right?
Yeah, the Saints got them, but they...
Field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they literally should be or could be 5-0 right now.
What's crazy to me is that game-winning field goal that Greg Joseph hit was the ugliest field goal make you will ever see.
Dude, that ball got 12 feet in the air, and it only needed to be 10. It was ridiculous. It looked like you remember when you were a kid on the playground and you would kick the ball and it would come out disgusting?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, like I remember because they were like, I was watching, I can't remember the game off the top of my head, but they came with the game break. They're like, come and see the ugliest field goal make you will ever see.
Yeah, this game was boring. I mean, I can't really go too much on it. Like, neither quarterback really looked that great. I mean, Mayfield threw for a lot of yards, man, and he threw for a lot of yards to a lot of receivers. They had 4 receivers with 60 or more yards receiving. Yeah. Which was Landry, Njoku, Higgins, and Willis. Or Willis, I don't know. Never even really heard of the guy. But
yeah, me neither. All right.
But yeah.
We'll move on then. We have the Lions hanging on and beating the Packers 31-23. This is my other surprising game.
Yeah, this game got ugly fast. And then Aaron Rodgers, do you have the box score for this game up?
No, but I can pull it up.
I'll tell you it. Aaron Rodgers threw for 442 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
Holy shit.
But the problem is he lost 2 fumbles, and they were early. So he kind of put them in a hole. So he padded his stats with the hole he put them in. But the Lions are 2-3, man, but they have like 2 really good wins. They beat the Patriots and the Packers. So if they can find a way to beat teams that aren't very good, and that aren't expected to be good, they may end up being a decent team this year.
Right, but this game, I call it the Mason Crosby game.
Because of the missed field goals.
He missed 4 field goals and an extra point.
Yeah, so you got a good point there, because
that's really the difference in the game. But Rodgers has not looked very Aaron Rodgers like, and it's probably because of the injury.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it probably is, but here's my thing: when he got hurt, though, he looked very Aaron Rodgers like.
That's
and then
true.
It's like I mean, here's another thing with him, and I think you might agree with it is. There's got to be a time where he starts to slow down.
Yeah.
And it's getting every week is later in the season.
So
every week he's got
like
more
34.
Stress. Yeah, he's not a kid.
He's like 34 or 35.
Yeah, he's getting up there. I mean, he probably has a lot. He's 34 years old. He'll be 35 by the end of the year. So he's at the back end of his career. So maybe, every week this year he starts to look worse. I don't think he looked that bad on Sunday. I think he looked bad early.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Where he kind of looked like blah the first half, and then he really turned it on.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is sometimes you put yourself in too big of a hole to have enough time to turn it on and win the football game.
Yeah,
and that's what he did.
But no, I agree with the Lions. They're going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another one that surprised me, but more so because of the score. The Chiefs put a whooping on Jacksonville, 30-14.
Yeah. This game was Blake Bortles, four interceptions. You can't beat the Chiefs when you turn the ball over. I think that's kind of like, I'm not trying to say that's some kind of smart, special thing to say, but you cannot beat the Kansas City Chiefs when you turn the ball over. And Bortles turned the ball over a lot on five turnovers, actually, four interceptions, 1 fumble. So they kind of just, they just weren't. And that, I think they really need Fournette in that offense as well, because they're a defense. They're a ball control, beat you with their defense kind of team, and when they're missing Fournette and they don't have that extra, that extra player in there, that extra one of their better players definitely, but it's hard. Like Bortles was running for his life as well. Like he did not have a good afternoon against Kansas City.
Yeah, I read where Fournette's likely to be out till week 10 now.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt them, man. They're 3-2 right now. I mean, they're not in the toughest division of football by any stretch of the imagination. So they're a team, I believe, with Jacksonville. If they can keep their head above water, they're gonna win that division in the second half of the season, because the Colts are done basically. They might fight and claw and
I know,
fight their way.
Yeah.
But that division's going through Jacksonville. Tennessee, they're another team that I don't think is going to actually look very good. Going down the stretch, they're going to start getting beat, and they're just not that great of a team. But Jacksonville will be okay. But it was like, I think what you were alluding to. It was kind of like surprising how they got beat on Sunday.
Yeah, well, like Lance just said, they don't have to worry. They signed Jamal Charles.
Oh yeah, they got him. Really, like, hasn't he been done for like 3 years now? Well, hey, he did have a good yards per carry in Denver, but he didn't get the ball very much.
That's been at least a year, I think.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, before we move on to the next game, I had to read this comment that Lance said regarding the Packers and Crosby.
Yeah.
He said Brie Bella kicks better than Mason Crosby.
Oh, my God. That's a knockout joke right there.
All right.
I like it.
Moving on, we have the Bills upsetting the Titans on the last play of the game, 13-12.
Yeah, that's another ugly game, man. I mean, you had Hauschka made the field goal, and that was it. Like, that game was ugly. you had two teams that just are. It makes me even more angry seeing that game on Sunday, knowing that the Eagles lost to the Titans. Like that pissed me off even more.
But I agree, and I got to give Josh Allen a hell of a lot of credit because he's doing it with like nothing on offense.
And he might be doing it with a little bit less on offense soon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
if rumors and reports of trades happen, then he might have a little less to help him out, which sucks for him.
Yeah,
because that guy was
everything I've read about that was he's talking about Shady McCoy getting traded. It's everything I read is that it's they're balking at the asking price.
Okay. So the Eagles are like they don't.
Well, they don't want to. They want like I think a 3rd or 4th round pick for him.
There's no way I would give everything. Like you know how I am with trades. To me, everything should be conditional too. Like I want some kind of security. Like if I get a guy and he's a lame duck, I don't want to give up a 3rd for him. I'd rather give up like a 5th. So everything should be conditional in the NFL. Like that's the way the Eagles work as well. Like with Jay Ajayi, it was a conditional pick. That's the way the Eagles trade. They do conditional picks because I'm not giving up a 2nd, 3rd round pick for a guy who comes here and sucks. You know?
Right. I agree. All right, here's another one that surprised me. Not so much who won, but the score. The Steelers blow Atlanta off the field, 41-17.
Did I predict this one? Did I said the Steelers were going to whoop on them, right? Was that okay? I was making sure because I wasn't sure. I wasn't trying to be like conceited.
Hey, look at me.
No. I just thought that I said that because I think this is what you're going to start seeing from the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to turn the corner now, and it's time for them to really. I think next week they play. Who did we say they play next week?
Cincinnati.
Yeah. I think they're going to beat Cincinnati, and I think you're going to start seeing the Steelers team. Like those guys got too much pride and they got too much talent, and they're just too good, to go out like they are. Slow starts happen, They lost a couple tough games, but I think you're going to really start seeing them beat up on teams. And hey, man, right now I don't know if there's a worse defense in the NFL than Atlanta's. And injuries have definitely helped, like you pointed out last week. With was it Keanu Neal is out, and then
Deion Jones.
Yeah, they're banged up really bad, but they kind of just look like they don't know what they're doing on defense.
No, and it's like the Matt Ryan show. Well, let's just try to beat people 45-40.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen in the NFL for long because it's an adjustment league. And
oh, totally.
Yeah, you're going to run into teams like they beat Matt Ryan up. He got hit a lot on Sunday, too. And Matt Ryan's not young. He's getting up there. So we're going to see what happens with him as well. But the Steelers that was a statement game to me from them. Like that was that statement where I think they came out and they were like, we're tired of bull crap, and we're still a good team. And we're going to prove that we're a good team. Like, we don't care about the Le'Veon Bell stuff anymore. We're tired of the Antonio Brown and all that talk. I guess there was talk between him and Ben Roethlisberger's chemistry or something.
Yeah.
And it's gone. Like, Brown caught 2 touchdown passes. He had 100 yards. To me, that's erased. The fact that they came out and they beat up on the Falcons like they did, not only offensively, but they held the Falcons to 17 points, which is a tough thing to do, and they beat Matt Ryan up. That was a statement game on both sides of the ball from the Steelers, and I think as the weeks go on now, you're going to start seeing more of those statement games because coming off of a win like that against Atlanta, playing a division rival, a Bengals team that they hate, I think it's going to go up even more of another notch against the Bengals. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Bengals by more than they beat the Falcons or it's going to be a blowout. I think you're just going to start seeing that nasty Pittsburgh Steelers team again.
Yeah, real quick, one more thing about this. You talk about the Steelers defense. Julio Jones didn't have a catch in this game until the 4th quarter.
Yeah, there you go, man. And the game where they were getting beat up on and everything score-wise, that tells you that whoever was playing defense for them did a good job. Or covering Julio was doing a really good job.
Yeah.
That was the game.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving right along, we have the Chargers beating up on the Raiders 26-10.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, I think the Raiders are done this year. I hate to say it. I like that team, and I can't quite understand why they're so bad right now. Like, their only win this year was a game they probably should have lost on it was like a fumble call, right? Remember?
Against the Browns.
Yeah, that game, they should have not won that football game. They shouldn't have won that football game. So,
with the exception of this game, they've basically been in all of their games. I will give them that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. But I thought this team would be 3-2 at the worst right now, maybe 4-1, not 1-4. So we'll see. This week coming up, if they're playing, I'm not even 100% sure if they have a game this week.
I'll find out in a few.
Yeah, I'm not seeing them. So no, they play the Seahawks this week, so they might be in deep crap.
Not really a lot to talk about with this one.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't really a good game. I mean, it was another one of those just they got beat up, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll just move on then.
Oh, yeah, please.
All right.
No, I'm just saying.
Next, we have the Vikings hanging on and beating the Eagles 23-21.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why, but I saw this one coming, and it stinks. Like, the way they lost the game too. Like, there's a couple calls in there, and I don't like to make excuses, so I'm not going to, because the Eagles just did not play really good football again on Sunday. They don't look like a contender right now, in my opinion. They really just don't.
Well, and they didn't. And I don't like to complain either, but this officiating crew was pretty fucking bad.
And they were bad, but I'll put it like this to you, man. If the Eagles execute 2 or 3, 4 more plays, they win the football game.
Exactly.
Still. So that's the way I put it. I don't like making excuses.
Well, we've talked about this at nauseum. When you have a negative plus minus, you're not going to win games.
No, and the thing about it is like it's to me a lot of people are saying a lot of different things. The offense, though, is the reason why the Eagles aren't winning right now. It's on the offense. It really is on the offense, because they're not dynamic at all. They had one big play. It was the Shelton Gibson pass play. That was pretty much it. Like, Alshon Jeffrey had one really good catch.
But they didn't have any stretch the field plays. Yeah,
and the Vikings defense this year has been very, very, very bad against those type of plays. But the Eagles, and one of the reasons is because Carson Wentz just can't wait for a wide receiver to stretch the field to get, he's got to get the ball out earlier. Yeah, he's getting hit way too much. He was sacked 3 more times in this game. Who knows how many it would have been if he didn't get away. They're right now, they are definitely not a contending looking team. Like, they don't look like in December that they're going to be looking at the playoffs instead of possibly looking at, let's just finish the year. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because they're a team that obviously has a lot of talent. They're getting the injuries, though, like Rodney McLeod. Now Ajayi's out for the year with a torn ACL, and props to him for playing that game with a torn ACL, which we ended up finding out that he tore it on a block. He actually picked up a block on someone, and he tore it, and he played the rest of the game. But
that's crazy.
They're a team that, like, they need to find, and this is going to sound weird, but they need to find another identity this year. Like, last year, they were a big play, dynamic, exciting team. This year, they're kind of just like a 7 or 8 yard pass, 4 yard run, and then can't protect for the rest of the drive. And that's what's killing them. They can't put any. Their consistency is just not there right now. They're very inconsistent.
I agree. All right. Next, we have the Cardinals picking up their first win against the 49ers, 28-18.
Yeah, one more thing real quick I just wanted to throw out there about that Eagles game.
Yeah.
Cousins, Thielen, and Diggs look good in that game. Like, they look good, especially Thielen with that 68-yard catch.
Yeah, he even had another 100-yard day.
Yeah, the Vikings look pretty good in that game. They're still only 2-2-1, but I think they're going to be another team, much like the Steelers, that are going to end up start making statements and turning it around. They're going to start winning football games, a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're good. No, we're on the Cardinals and the Niners. Not really a lot to talk about here either.
Yeah, like there was a lot of games this week that I felt were like Rosen looked okay. He threw for 170 and a touchdown. I guess, when you don't turn the ball over. Beathard he threw for a lot of yards, but the turnovers hurt him. He looked really good at times, and then he looked really bad at times. These two teams they're both 1-4, so this is kind of like this was kind of like one of those games that you expect to see on a Thursday night almost, which is, really we've been seeing some better games on Thursday nights, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
This game just wasn't like, it's not the kind of game where I'm just gonna.
The main thing I take away from this game is when you turn the ball over 5 times, you're not gonna win.
Exactly. You're 100% right, unless the other team turns it over 5 times too.
Yeah.
When your turnover to takeaway ratio is that bad, you're done.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. I'll just move on after that because there's not really a lot to talk about with that one. This was an interesting one to me. The Rams hold off Seattle in a shootout, 33-31.
Yeah. One quick thing too. The dudes in the chat, like Lance and all them, if they have like questions, please throw them out, because we're getting a lot of games right now that are not very that don't have many talking points. You know. So.
There's Rob in our chat says he thinks the Niners need to tank so that they can draft Joey Bosa's brother.
Yeah, that's rough in the NFL to do that. You got too many guys with jobs on the line and pride and stuff. Well, I don't disagree, but coming from we're Philly guys, so we know about tanking with the Sixers. But it's rough, man, because when you start doing stuff like that in the NFL, you lose your job and you lose your livelihood and your way of supporting your families and stuff if you have families. So it's rough. It's rough. It's something that I don't think they're going to have any trouble doing it on their own. They're going to lose a lot of games.
I agree with that. Now onto this Rams game. The thing that was interesting, because these two usually have really good games. They're rivals and stuff now. Cooks and Cooper Kupp, I think you said, both were injured in this game.
Yeah, I think they both went into the concussion protocol, right? And Cooks was bad. That was a big time hit. I'm not sure if it was clean. I'd probably have to look at it again but I know there was a lot of people saying that it should have been flagged. It wasn't flagged, so I don't know. I mean, sometimes I don't think the refs know exactly what's clean or not, but you were telling me earlier that Cooks is okay, right?
Him and Kupp were both practicing today from what I read.
Well, that's a good sign for them, man, because right now they have some major momentum, 5-0 and a nice comeback win against Seattle, which is a tough place to win. I mean, a lot of teams go in there and lose and end up having amazing years. But
the interesting thing to me in this game, and I read about it earlier, was Seattle has kind of turned into more of a running team now.
Yeah, I haven't like, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to sit here and I haven't followed a ton of Seattle's games.
No, I was reading that they're only throwing the ball, I think it was like 45% of the time.
Yeah, looking at the distribution of plays, they ran the ball 32 times, and Wilson only had 21 attempts, so they definitely have turned, and I'm sure Marshawn Lynch isn't liking seeing that because, I think that's one of the reasons why he left, but in the Super Bowl, when you don't run the ball with arguably the best goal line, it kind of pisses you off. But now, apparently now they're going to do it, though. So I don't know. I don't know why, but maybe their receivers are a little banged up, right? Like a couple of their guys are playing dinged up and everything, and
it's strange. Well, Baldwin, both of his legs or knees are messed up, so I don't know. But this Mike Davis, I think it's Mike Davis, has turned into a pretty good running back for them.
Yeah, he had a decent game. Carson was the one that had the really good game. Chris Carson.
Okay.
He's been the better of the two.
All right, no, but I just thought this was a fun game. I wish we would have gotten it because it was a good back and forth.
Yeah, and kudos to the Rams, dude. They came out in the fourth quarter. They put up 10. They held Seattle scoreless in the fourth, and they scored 9 in the fourth to win the game with Gurley touchdown and then the Santos field goal, and their defense held for the last 6 minutes. So they're winning games. Not so much defensively in a way on Sunday, but with a final stand defensively, they won the game, which is big.
Yeah.
When you start winning games in different ways, that's how you know you're a really good team. Because if you win it offensively, high scoring, defensively, low scoring, defensive stand at the end, that's when you know you're a good team. Good teams win games in different ways, and the Rams have done that. The Chiefs have done that, and that's why they're the two best teams in the NFL right now.
Agreed. All right. Next, Sunday night, we have the Texans beating Dallas in overtime, 19-16.
Yeah, this in 1916, that's the last year the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, right? I'm kidding. I had to throw that in there. Lance is in there. But by the way, happy birthday, Lance. I know I told him on his birthday, and it's a couple days late again, but
it's all good.
Look, I enjoyed this football game. It was a defensive type of football game.
Hard hitting, yeah.
Very hard. It was like a Texas dogfight, like dust cloud,
I told you when we were
football.
off air, the play Jalen Smith made on Deshaun Watson at the end of the half, that hit was vicious.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, we talked about him for a little bit. I'm glad to see that he recovered from that major, possibly career threatening. Because if he had nerve damage in that knee, his career was over. And luckily, and good for him and everything that he didn't. And he's looking like he was. We said he was the second pick in the second round. He's looking like he could have been the second pick in the first round at this point. Overall second pick. And,
yeah, well, he was going to be a top 5 pick if he wouldn't have got hurt in that bowl game.
Oh, absolutely, dude. He was on his way to being maybe the number 1 defensive pick player in that draft. I'm not sure exactly who came out, but
no, this came down to Houston having Hopkins, and he made one more play than Dallas could offensively.
Man, that catch and run is what you're talking about,
where he did like
right?
a spin-a-rooney like 3 times.
Yeah, man. Hopkins looked back. Deshaun Watson looked a lot better on Sunday night. He really turned it on.
Yeah, not to interrupt you. The one thing that drives me crazy though with Hopkins is the way he holds the ball.
Yeah, he's very like NBA basketball player with the ball. Like he palms it.
He holds it like a loaf of bread.
If he was an Eagle, I'd have heart attacks watching him, man. Well, T.O. used to do it sometimes, and it would scare the crap out of me. And we had another guy that would do it. I think it might have been like Todd Pinkston or someone did it, and it used to scare the crap out of me. And I don't like if I'm a Texans fan, I'm just praying that he starts to put two hands on the ball and tuck the ball away, because like when he was running with that ball like that, I was waiting for it to pop out and cost them that football game.
Your Lance makes a very good point. He said that game drove him nuts because Garrett on 4th and 1, they've gone for it 1,000,000 times and got it, but this time they decide in overtime to punt it and play defense.
Yeah, I honestly agree 100% with Lance there too. I didn't understand that. Like you watch like lately in the NFL, I would say over like the last 3, 4, 5 years, fourth down right there in that situation, especially because it can be the difference between 3 and 2 and 2 and 3, which it was. I think getting that no fear, just aggressive type of play calling
punch
right
somebody
there.
In the mouth.
Yeah, and you have Ezekiel Elliott. You literally have maybe the best short yardage back in the NFL right now. And it goes back to that play calling by Carroll in the Super Bowl. It's right along that line. Why not just give the ball to the number 1 player on your team?
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott is arguably the best running back in the NFL. You have Zach Martin run the ball at that side of the line and get the first down.
Yeah. like Lance said, it'd be different if it was early in the game, but you're in sudden death and you're trying to win the game.
And here's another thing as well. I think when you're a coach, they say, like, you don't look toward other games, you don't look toward this, you don't look toward next week and everything. And this, to me, the Redskins were playing the Saints the next night, and you know pretty much that the Saints are going to win that football game, especially with Drew Brees getting ready to break the all-time passing record, yardage record. Get the win. You're in a division where your defending Super Bowl champions right now are not playing well. The Giants are not a good team. The Redskins are most likely going to lose. You already have a division win. Get the first down running the football with Ezekiel Elliott. Go down, kick the field goal, or possibly score a touchdown to win the game and win a football game. Yeah. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. And I don't understand. I honestly, and I think Lance might agree with me, I think Jason Garrett has been the wrong coach for that team now for a while.
Oh, God,
I think they should have brought someone else in. I honestly, the number one thing I think is I think the Cowboys need a new owner. I think Jerry Jones has got, they need him to go the way of the dinosaur at this point and get them in someone who wants to build a team business-wise and let intelligent current football people run the franchise.
I agree.
Let a general manager, scouting department, player personnel guy run your football team.
Couldn't agree more.
But, you know, micromanaging is what those old owners tend to do. Jerry Jones, Al Davis, you know. Robert Kraft is a very good owner. That's the kind of owner that you want your franchise having because he lets a smart football guy do the football stuff.
Yeah.
And he runs a business. You're a business owner, not a football owner to an extent.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we have the Saints beating up on the Redskins 43-19.
Yeah, this game, this was the game that I expected. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you did as well.
Oh God, yeah.
The Saints at home on Monday night, Drew Brees possibly breaking an NFL record. The Saints really needing another performance. This game, everything added up to this being a beating. And I'm not saying the Saints could have used they could have taken a loss, obviously, and been 3-2. But they need to try to separate themselves in the NFC because they started off, especially the defense started off looking very, very, very bad. But this was obviously the Drew Brees party. This was it's amazing to see what that guy did. I actually saw that thing and we were talking about it the other night, and you ended up coming up with the reason why. I can't believe Drew Brees has never won an MVP in the NFL.
Yeah. It's because every year he's had a great year, somebody's one-upped him.
Yeah, which kind of sucks. But, hey, the great thing about Drew Brees is he is an MVP. He's a most valuable person and not just a player. And good for him, man. It was as a football fan, as a fan of the NFL, of the sport, and of that league, a league that has had a lot of negatives lately, it's very cool to see on national television, primetime Monday Night Football, to see what Drew Brees accomplished because he's a very good person. Saved probably that franchise, you know, was one of the big people who, after a catastrophe, that Hurricane Katrina, was at the forefront of trying to help that city rebuild, rebound, you know, get people out of like a depression, which was expected, you know. Drew Brees is just an amazing. I can't say enough good things about Drew Brees. The guy is who you would want your kids as football fans and everyone to look up to. That's Drew Brees. He's a family man. He's a good person. He's like a charitable person. You know, he's the face of a league type of player. And it was very, very like heartwarming and nice to see what he did. And the way he broke that record too with that long touchdown was phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. Good for him.
Sorry for babbling.
No, you're good. And then like with Lance just said it, with Ingram back, he just looked I guess you would say like a man with a purpose.
Yeah, 100% did. He looked like he was shot out of a cannon, man. Like
that's what you messaged to me.
Yeah, he's not the fastest back because he's more of a power back. But that one run where he broke it for a decent amount of yards, he looked like he looked, and I don't know if you noticed it or if anybody like Lance can say, anybody who's listening, he looked like he was a little bit slimmer too. Like maybe he looked like he may have put a little bit of speed on, like he lost a little bit of that power, but it's still there, obviously. But because the goal line showed you that it's still there. But he looked like he can be even closer to being a dual threat back than before. And with having Alvin Kamara there too, that team, that offense, to me, that offense scares me more than any offense in the NFL when it's clicking, because they have so many weapons, and they have probably the smartest, maybe the smartest quarterback in the NFL that just knows how to produce and perform.
I agree. Couldn't agree more with you.
And the Redskins just didn't look very good, and that made me happy as well.
Yeah. All right, before we make our picks, you bested me by 1 last week.
Yeah, the Eagles game. I picked the Vikings. I don't know what told me that they would win, but there was something in there. Maybe I knew that the NFL would, the guy would get hit in his butt by the player, and they would call it a low hit or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. All right, speaking of that, we start off Thursday night. The Eagles traveling to the what's it called? MetLife now.
Yeah, very, very, very nice looking stadium from the outside. By the way, you drive by there a lot. It's a beautiful stadium, but the football in there isn't very beautiful. But
no.
Real quick, I don't want to cut you off. LaShawn McCoy just tweeted, just happened not too long ago. He tweeted, "Thank you, Lord, for this great day." So I don't know. Maybe,
is that foreshadowing?
Maybe he's coming home. I don't know. And anybody who doesn't know, LaShawn McCoy is from Philadelphia, so
yeah, he's from the area.
He's not from Philadelphia, but he is from Philadelphia. People aren't familiar. Usually, if you're from 20 to a half hour from Philadelphia, you're from Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, who do you got? Thursday night, Eagles traveling to the Giants.
I'm a very honest person. When I pick the Eagles games, anybody who listens to us knows that I will be very upfront and honest about the Eagles, right? The Vikings game showed you I'll be very upfront and honest. I picked the Vikings to beat them, obviously. I didn't make excuses. The Eagles are going to turn it around this week. They're going to beat the Giants 33 to 16 or 17. I think this will be where they start to shine. Yeah, this will kind of be the game. I'm going with it. I believe it. I believe that they're getting a little healthier, even though Ajayi's out. I don't think that's good. I think the emphasis that they're going to have to put on this game is, I think, the offensive line. Because with Clement, Smallwood, Adams, Sproles coming back soon, right now they have enough to win because they have playmakers on offense. Ertz, Jeffrey, Aguilar, Goddard, I like, and Jordan Matthews even had a big catch against the Titans. I think the Eagles start to turn around this week. I think you're going to see a different-looking Eagles team. It's a rivalry game. It's a game that they need to win, and it's a game that the Giants are usually the team that the Eagles beat, and then that's when things, like I told you 15 years ago, was the punt return.
Yeah, by Westbrook.
The Eagles were 2-3. Westbrook returns the touchdown. The punt for the touchdown late in the game, the Eagles win 9 straight games. I think that's what's going to – I'm not saying 9 in a row because the schedule's tough, but I think right now the Eagles win. They go 3-3. They finish the year still at least 10-6.
I agree. I'm taking the Eagles. Lance put in the chat after you said the McCoy thing. He says, McCoy runs for 4 touchdowns. Eagles win. LOL.
Well, they're not going to have him. I don't think. If they trade for him today, he could suit up.
It would just make me laugh.
Yeah, hey, from Lance's, I guess you would say fingers because he typed it in, to whoever powers the NFL. The NFL's God's ears.
Yeah, there you go.
Or eyes, because you can't really hear a text.
That's funny. All right, next we have the Colts traveling to New York to play the Jets.
I'm going with the Jets. I like the Jets at home in this one, man. I think they'll run the ball. I like them. Well, I'm not really gonna go.
Yeah,
I just like the Jets.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Because I think they have more playmakers.
Well, one New York team's got to win in that stadium. It might as well be the Jets.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Steelers traveling to Cincinnati.
Steelers. they continue their great play from last weekend to this weekend, and
I think so too. But I actually think it'll be closer than most people think.
No. I'm in agreement with that. Like 27-23, 31-27. I think you're going to get a good football game, but I think the Steelers end up winning it because I think they're much like what I just said with the Eagles. I think the Steelers are going to do much of the same with the Patriots. I think they're going to do a lot of the same. I think you're going to start seeing some of these teams that are expected to be good are going to start getting good again.
Here's an interesting game. The Chargers traveling to Cleveland.
Ooh, I like the Chargers in this one. I think the Chargers look good. I think Cleveland hasn't lost at home this year, though, which is kind of – they've tied. But I like the Chargers.
This is our first disagreement. I'm going to take the Browns because they're at home and they haven't got beaten at home yet, and two, a West Coast team coming to play a 1 o'clock game.
That is a very good point. I'm sticking with the Chargers though. I don't want to change because you picked them and then you made a good point. I'm staying with the Chargers.
Okay.
I didn't think it through. That teach me a lesson.
It's all good. All right. Next we have the Bills traveling to Houston.
I like Houston. I don't think Buffalo scores more than 10 points in this game, and I think you're going to start seeing a little bit more from Deshaun Watson.
I think this is where they can go on a roll.
I agree with that. I think they're, especially within that division, when they start playing that division, so if they get a weak out of division or out of conference team, I think you're going to start seeing Houston gaining some, like, they're going to start pulling away in that division a little bit. They're going to play much better football.
I agree. All right, we have next the Bears traveling to Miami.
I like this game, to be honest with you. This is a game where I think these two teams, you're gonna like. It's almost like I don't want to say do or die, but I think both of these teams need a win to keep their their heads above water. I like the Bears in this game though. I'm a fan of the Bears right now. I think that defense does enough to stop the Dolphins, because the Dolphins don't have a high-powered offense. They're not gonna come out and beat you, but the Bears can have a high-powered offense. Like, they have a good offense. They have a good scheme. They have a good quarterback. I like their play calling. I think the Bears go down there and they win this game. I don't think it's going to be convincingly. I think it's going to be a close game, 23-20, 23-17, something along those lines. One score type of game, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. But I like the Bears, and you're going to disagree.
No, I like.
Oh, damn.
I like the Bears in this game.
Okay. Usually when you don't say anything, you disagree. But.
No, I was going to say I think they make enough plays because their defense is that much better than that's Miami.
Yeah, Khalil Mack. I think Khalil Mack has a good game. I think he can be the difference in a game. Takeaways, man. He's the king of the strip sack.
No, I agree. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Next we have Arizona traveling to Minnesota.
Ooh, Minnesota. I don't really have much to say about this one. I think Josh Rosen's going to wish he was still playing behind Bradford on Sunday.
The Vikings get a layup.
Yeah, although that's Buffalo. Remember Buffalo with the Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this Minnesota team's. They're another team that I think is in the same boat with the Patriots and the Eagles and the Steelers. I think in the Saints, I think you're going to start seeing them. I think the cream of the crop, as you will say, cream always rises to the top or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens in this game too. I think the Vikings start turning it around, and that's another reason why I think the Bears need a win on Sunday, and they're gonna know it too, because the Vikings are gonna start winning football games, and they're gonna start winning a lot of football games. They're still gonna win 11, 12 games this year, I think.
All right. Next we have Tampa traveling inside the Dome in Atlanta.
Atlanta at home is a totally different team. You've even said that. You've alluded to that and said that a lot. They're a different team in that Dome. And I think you're going to see that they come out and they have to be angry, man. Like, they got whooped by the Steelers. And I think Tampa is not that week 1 and week 2 team. I mean, it's obvious.
No, Winston's making his first start.
I thought Winston started last week, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, he's.
Oh yeah,
he
my
started
bad.
last week.
Well,
Yeah,
first since the bye, then I take it that.
yeah. I like Atlanta. Home
Yeah.
field, offense. They're 1-4. They're getting embarrassed at this point, and I think they're going to rebound and they're going to get them. They're going to get themselves a win.
Yeah, I have Atlanta as well. All right, here's an interesting one. The Seattle Seahawks playing the Oakland Raiders, but this is the game over in London.
Oh yeah, this is the London game, right? Oh, so that's a rough one. Two teams got to travel. I like Seattle. The Raiders. The Raiders, like right now, they're what's the word? Teetering. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Where or maybe they've already just fallen over. I don't know. We'll see. But I like Seattle in this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you here. I think Seattle will probably win going away.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, next here's another interesting one to me. The Carolina Panthers traveling down to Washington.
Up to Washington.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I think Carolina's south of Washington. I mean, I'm not sure. Well, I don't even think the Redskins don't even play in Washington, so they're traveling to Maryland.
Yeah.
Is it like Landover or something?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah. So, man, that's a rough one. I like Carolina. I like them. I like the Panthers.
This should
Not
be,
really gonna.
This should be an interesting one because Josh Norman faces his former team.
Yes. Yes, and they definitely don't have a receiver that he can't cover, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anybody who's on that Carolina team, Josh Norman can cover easily.
Yeah. I think they'll probably win because Alex Smith hasn't really shown. And I don't want to knock the dude, but he's like the king of the 10-yard pass.
Yeah, he's a manager. He's a game manager. That's what he's been known for, and that's why I think the Chiefs got rid of him, because they want a quarterback that can win football games instead of managing football games.
That's fair. All right, next we have the Rams traveling to Mile High playing Denver.
The Rams are going to beat them up. No doubt in my mind. The Rams are going to win this football game. I think
let's
Denver.
put it like this: if the Jets can get big plays on them, imagine what the Rams can do.
Yeah, and Denver though, it could be a different story. But I know what you're saying. The window is definitely there for the Rams to do it because the Jets did it. I'm gonna throw out a prediction right here, dude. I think Denver's gonna lose this game, and they're gonna fire Vance Joseph.
Oh wow,
that's my prediction. Denver loses this game, and they fire Vance Joseph.
okay, I'll remember that.
Okay, write it down if you can.
All right, okay. Next game we have Jacksonville traveling to Dallas.
Man, it's going to be a defensive struggle too. It's going to be another one of those 19-16 type games. I like Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville wins this game and Dallas fires Jason Garrett. No, I'm kidding. But
Lance would have a party.
Yeah. I don't want him to fire Jason Garrett. I like Jason Garrett.
I do too. Coach Clapp.
Yeah. I like Jacksonville in this one. I think they're a team that
I think they'll make their defense will make one more play, like make Prescott make a mistake.
Yeah, well, Prescott can do that on his own too. So,
but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I think Jacksonville. I think you're going down the right path by saying that. Definitely, like he's facing, which probably is even better defense than Houston's. I'm not 100% sure. I think they're deeper than Houston at this point because of the secondary.
Especially in the secondary.
Yeah, because Jalen Ramsey, what receiver do they have that can beat him? You know, I can't really think of. Dallas doesn't really have weapons right now other than Zeke. So. Yeah. I'm going with the Jaguars, and I'm not picking them because I don't like Dallas. I'm picking them because I think they're going to win the game.
Right. All right. Next, we have Baltimore traveling to Tennessee.
Baltimore Ravens are going to win this one. They need to win. because I think, what I said, what's going to happen with the Steelers. I think they're going to know it with the way the Bengals are. They could get a game on the Bengals if the Steelers do that. And Cleveland, I think also, I picked them to lose. I'm not 100% sure they will, though. But I think this is a big game for Baltimore to stay, up there with the division. They need this win.
Right. Here might be my favorite game of the week, Sunday night.
You picked Baltimore?
The Chiefs traveling to Foxborough.
Oh, yeah, man. That's a good one. I'm going to tell you who's going to win this game, and I'm going to tell you exactly why they're going to win this game. The Patriots are going to win this football game, and they're going to win this game because Bill Belichick's going to outcoach Andy Reid. That's why. That's that. No, I'm not like making a joke. I just think that the Patriots win this football game, and I think it's because Belichick will be a step ahead of Andy Reid. Especially in the third and fourth quarters, Belichick's going to be a step ahead of Andy Reid, and that's why they're going to win the football game.
The Pats will win because they will expose something that teams haven't exposed yet. Like Bill Belichick always finds a weakness somewhere.
Yeah, I think that weakness is going to be the defense with Eric Berry and Justin Houston not playing. I think that's going to be they're going to expose.
I can agree with that.
The second and third level of that Chiefs defense, and they'll do it with Gronk. They'll do it with the running backs out of the backfield. They'll do it with Edelman now. They'll do it with Josh Gordon, and it's going to be like 33-27. I think. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think though, when a coaching decision is needed and a play needs to be made, I think the Patriots are going to do both of them better, and they're going to win the football game. And I'm excited to see this game, like you said. It's going to be the best game of the week, in my opinion, and I'm happy to that we're going to get to see this.
Yeah.
In prime time.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm going with the Patriots too. And then we have last and certainly not least is the big exciting Monday night game. San Francisco traveling to Green Bay.
Packers easy. Packers win this. Rodgers, is like the Sunday night, Monday night primetime hero. He's definitely going to want to right that ship and turn around. I've talked about it before, the RELAX Rodgers. Yeah, I don't think this game is close. 33-13, 33-16, 17. It's not going to be close. I think Green Bay comes out hot and fast, and they're going to beat the 49ers.
I personally wouldn't. I agree with you. I personally wouldn't be shocked if they pull Aaron Rodgers in the third quarter.
I don't disagree with that, man. Like,
and more so
I could see
for like health stuff.
Yeah, I could see them beating up on them pretty bad on Monday night.
You know what I mean?
Like,
where they try to get him out and let him get some rest.
Yeah, this game, like, I mean, before the season, this game looks good because you have Garoppolo, you have a 49ers team that closed the season last year hot. Probably the hottest team in the NFL going into the postseason. Well, they didn't make the postseason, obviously, but after they got Garoppolo, they were 5-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something
like that. And
then
he unfortunately gets hurt.
Yeah, the major injury. Rest of the year, they're pretty much in trouble. Like the guy was saying earlier, maybe tanking would help them more than anything. But yeah, this game looked good on paper when the season started, but right now it doesn't look good at all. And I think the Packers. This actually could be the most one-sided game of the week.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's fair.
Okay.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to get out of here for tonight.
Yeah.
So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, give it a thumbs up, all of that good stuff, and we'll see you back next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Later.